Good morning and welcome to this weekend's Brunch Club, where we toast to all the amazing, diversely faceted women out there, filling your cup with inspiration and encouragement as our guests share their personal stories, experiences with careers, family, parenting, equality, mentoring, and advice. The Brunch Club is where we raise a glass and champion female talent and leadership everywhere, and where sparkling is always encouraged. Hosted by Rachel Swoboda and brought to you from the beautiful showroom of Bixby and Ball, located in Newport Beach's Lido Marina Village. Now, here is your host, Rachel Swoboda.
Hi, good morning, and welcome to the Brunch Club. I am here today with a very special guest from a organization that's very near and dear to my heart. It's called the 3% Movement, and I'd like to introduce you to Amanda.
Hello.
And Amanda has a very unique last name, and I don't want to steal your thunder with the...
So my last name is Enayati, and I always tell people that it rhymes with anxiety, which is perfect because I do a lot with stress and self-care. So Enayati, that rhymes with anxiety.
So Amanda works with the 3% Movement, and I'm just going to give a little short background, and feel free to jump in on this, but...
Yeah.
The 3% Movement, it was started by a good friend of ours named Kat Gordon, and a few years ago, Kat realized that only 3% of women in the creative industry in advertising were
3% of creative directors are women.
So she started this initiative to raise awareness, and there's, an annual conference. Now there's mini conferences, there's a book, there's
consulting.
All different things. Yeah, different agencies are consulting with the organization. It's like a third-party stamp of approval. And I know we've raised the rate of creative directors that are female up to, last I checked,
29%.
Yes.
Depending on, we've also seen metrics in the low 30s. So it's gone up significantly in the past 7 years. Thank you, Kat Gordon.
Yes, thank you, Kat Gordon. Yay! Shout out to Kat.
Yes.
So I just, wanted to have you on.
Thank you for having me on.
I think this is a really treat. You drove down from Los Angeles this morning to be here.
In the rain.
Yes, in the rain. Thank you. And you told me you've been in how many different time zones just this week alone?
So in the past 10 days, I've been in 4 time zones, and I leave again tomorrow for Raleigh, North Carolina, which is in a different time zone. Excuse me, I think they're Eastern. So
So where have you been, and what have you been doing in these places?
I've been in New York, in Tampa, in Austin. I do a lot of speaking, and I was in TV in Tampa. I was so excited. WFLA, Cindy Edwards.
Shout out.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
And Jerry Petticoli. So it's been a I don't know. This year felt like it. I'd started, and then I shot out of a cannon. So it's been really hectic this year.
And it's gone by fast. Like when we talked in January, it was like, oh yeah, March. It's like so far away. Yeah. And now all of a sudden, here we go.
Yeah.
So it's gotten really fast.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So when you're speaking and traveling, are you talking about what's going on with 3% Movement? Are you talking about your book? You have so many different initiatives that everyone needs to know about.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm glad that you're out there
so kind.
on the circuit telling everybody.
Thank you. So I have a very nonlinear career, which is sort of the norm now, right? My colleague Leeson always talks about how nonlinear is the new normal.
Oh.
And I started out as an attorney, and then became a consultant with the World Bank and USAID and other folks. And then I started this whole sort of career as a writer, a columnist about stress and well-being and the pursuit of happiness in our very hectic lives. I founded and wrote a column for CNN Health called Seeking Serenity, and then wrote a book based on the column.
And there's talks online that you can find where you go into all the background on that, and it's been an amazing journey. So I want people to know that there is a lot of content of you out there that they can binge watch on.
Aw, you're so nice.
Which is wonderful.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to binge watch, but there's a lot of stuff out there. My favorite perhaps was the 3% conference last year, where I got to really talk about in Chicago, where I talked about how this really big crisis that I had in my life basically shaped sort of my perception and my career and my family. And so, yeah, it was a fun time.
And where is the next 3% event that's coming up?
I'm so happy that you asked, because
Such a shock.
we have a mini con coming up, and it's really about brand purpose and the rising power of brand purpose. And it's on June the 6th in Washington, D.C. So please join us. It's going to be phenomenal.
So I think I actually am going to go, which is wonderful. I went to the mini-con in Los Angeles last year and loved it, and heard your daughter speak.
Yes.
Which she has an amazing young daughter who's like taking
Gen Z is going to save us all.
in her mother's footsteps, like out there on
her
stage.
footsteps.
So brave. It was phenomenal. But I want to go to the one in DC, not only to support and to be there. And is your daughter going to speak again, by the way?
She's not. I think she's emceeing a portion of the conference.
Okay.
What I'm really excited about at this conference is that we have I'm part of the head of culture innovation at 3%, and we do a lot of consulting for companies, for agencies and advertising, but also for tech and media. And one of the through lines that we're seeing that is really interesting, and we've seen the rise of this over the past 5 to 10 years, is this notion of brand purpose, and the importance of knowing who your values are. Oh my gosh, what's happening?
I don't know, but you know, hey, this is just
Hello.
how it goes. Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Speaking of brand purpose, the importance of taking care of all of us, and self-care and mental and care for the mentally ill. So this really important interesting notion of brand purpose and how it is seminal to the company, that it goes far beyond just creating a pretty set of words and articulating them, but really understanding that everything that you do as a company and as an individual ladders up to your purpose. And that if it doesn't, then you need to really consider and think about, well, is this something that I want to be doing? So I'm excited.
The topic is going to be really good because, I mean, at the agency, all my clients, they all talk about that with not only their brand, but their personal brand is becoming so much more important than it ever was before.
Oh my gosh.
So I never thought that the scope would be growing in that space. Like, oh, can you start taking over the social media for my personal brand?
Yeah.
Oh, I need a personal brand. People are starting to realize they know what that is.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how that evolves. And then my sister lives in DC, and so I think I'm going to go attend and bring her with me too.
Oh, I love that.
And my other sister's on the East Coast too, so I'm gonna see if I can get them both to go.
So I guess you grew up on the East Coast.
I grew up here.
Oh,
in
and they
Orange
did
County.
too.
And they grew up here too, but now they both live over there.
Oh.
So I have places to go and visit.
There's a very warm place in my heart for Washington. I love Washington.
Yeah, it'll be
miraculous. It'll be fabulous.
Okay, so there were other things that I know we were going to talk about. We're like, oh, let's save that.
Gen Z is going to save us all.
Okay, all right. What else was
Lots
it?
of things. Her fabulous shoes.
Oh, we were going to,
Please take note.
All right. So shout out to Ferragamo and their sparkle shoes. I am sort of obsessed with sparkly shoes, and I don't care if they're high heels or sneakers, or sandals. They have to sparkle these days.
Yeah.
I
love
don't know.
them.
I think maybe I got that from my daughter. I don't know.
I love them. I feel like
seeing
my
the shoes?
life would be 5 to 10% more joyful if I got to see sparkly shoes every day.
There's something about it when you're tired and you're like, but they're happy. They make me happy.
Well, I was listening to someone speak about the importance of your surroundings and sort of beauty and aesthetics to your well-being and self-care. And I've been thinking about that a lot, of the importance of space and the intention and attention that we bring to just being surrounded by beautiful things, whether they're fresh flowers or art or anything.
Oh, yeah, it makes a difference. Well, I want to take a quick break, and then when we come back, I'm going to go another direction with this. So
Excellent.
We will be right back.
Bedding, lighting, furniture, decor. We do it all, even the kitchen sink. Bixby & Ball offers customers a thoughtful collection of home decor and meaningful gifts for any special occasion. Bring the coastal lifestyle home with the help of our styling and design team. Let's create a timeless piece together. Visit us at one of our charming stores, conveniently located in Newport Beach, Lido Marina Village, and Solana Beach, Cedros Design District. Or shop online at bixbyandball.com.
And welcome back. And I know we left off on the shoes, and I was going to go somewhere else with this, but now I'm thinking that we should talk about what we talked about right before about wardrobe. And
yes.
Okay, so as a woman who is out there, I mean, you're on the speaking circuit, you're in front of a lot of people, you give a lot of interviews. We were talking about wardrobe.
Yes. Oh my gosh, the bane of my existence.
But I think that there's women out there that want to hear this advice and this
yes.
pearls of wisdom on
yes.
how do you dress for all these things.
Here's what you need to know, and I was taught this by my wonderful friend who is on TV multiple times a week. Her name is Jamu Green, and she did media training for me. And she said, listen, I don't care how substantive what you have to say is. When people look at you, their impression is formed something like 50-60% by what they see, and maybe 10 or 20% by what you say. And it might be that that's actually more true for women, but I think that's a statistic that also applies to men. You please go look that up. It's really interesting. And so here I was going through life trying to be really thoughtful and intentional about all the things that I said and my ideas and how was I putting things together. And I realized that I was really doing a disservice by not spending more time thinking about the presentation. Now, you might think by looking at me today and how casual I am
casual
that I
chic, I love it.
Thank you.
Totally works.
But I actually did give thought to it, and I was like, I'd like to go in a casual way. But yeah, so I mean, I now have tactics. There are a lot of really great trainers, and I think media training is important for everybody. I don't care what you do. You can benefit from media training to understand sort of the colors and the way that you speak and the rhythms.
Yeah.
And
so, okay, I tell people all the time if they're going to have like their headshots done or they're going to be on film, like don't wear red because it doesn't show well.
Black, white, or red. Right.
What do you mean? You don't wear black?
So
we're both wearing black.
We are both wearing black. Well, this is on TV. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want to wear colors that pop. I think red doesn't show well. White isn't. And which is sort of I'm wearing it. Like a.
Well,
beige.
but it's like a cream. I mean, it's not like a pure white.
Yeah.
I also tell people to avoid crazy colors, like weird patterns.
Patterns
the pattern
are a definite no. Yes.
Because it just sort of doesn't play.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, we were talking about Rent the Runway.
Yes.
Okay, so you've heard about it recently.
Which I don't do. I just happen to notice that there are some women in my life that I see and I really admire what they're wearing. And for the, I've asked several times, where did you get that? Who, and each time they've said Rent the Runway, including today.
Oh yeah, I got this skirt from Rent the Runway and then I fell in love with it and I got to buy it.
Yeah.
For like 65% off.
Beautiful.
It's like, well, okay, this is fantastic. Although I was telling you, with the show even, I try to like change up what I'm wearing and I'm starting to forget. So I'm like, well, maybe if like the news anchors and stuff, do they have a list of like things that they've worn and things not to repeat? Like, do I need to start a catalog?
So
what do you do?
From my observation is that they have stylists.
Okay, well, I don't have a stylist
who keep track of it.
That's not gonna happen.
But I see sort of racks and they have different designers send stuff, or they have their stylists pick up different things.
Someone said that if I planned this properly, I could get someone to sponsor the wardrobe for the show.
I think you can. I'm in much the same way that this beautiful setting is a company.
So, Bixby and Ball.
Bixby and Ball.
Yes.
I think in the same way, you probably could.
I think I'm going to put that on my list of like things to do for March.
Yes.
Or maybe April. I don't know. The list is long.
Yes. Oh my gosh, let's not talk about lists. So here's my strategy for when I'm so overwhelmed by everything that I have to do. And I got this from my friend who has a lot to do. She said 1 foot in front of the other. So the only thing that I focus on is the next immediate thing that I have to do. And I don't think about it long term because I get overwhelmed.
Is this how we help with the anti-anxiety?
It's one of the tips, is one step in front of the other. And interestingly, Will Smith, the actor, the rapper.
I love Will Smith.
I love Will Smith, the sage. he has this really interesting quote, and I urge you to look it up, about how you don't consider building the entire wall. You just go brick by brick, and you focus on doing the best job that you can on that brick, and then you bring in the next brick and you focus on doing the best job that you can. And that's really powerful anti-anxiety advice, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed, is just focus on excellence with the next step. One foot in front of the other, one brick on top of the other.
Okay, I really like that.
I know, I do too. I love Will Smith and I love my friend Kathy.
Yeah, wow, that's phenomenal. There was something else I think I didn't want to forget to cover. I know we talked about 3%,
Yes.
which is great, but I want you to give a plug for the book.
Yes, so
Encourage people to buy it, to read it, to love it,
yes.
to embrace it. So.
Aw, thank you. So I arrived at being an author in a very dramatic way, and I almost don't want to say it because it feels very heavy, but the way that I approach it is and have looked at it is not that heavy, so don't be stressed out. I'm fine now. But I had a really big health crisis. My kids were little, and I was diagnosed with late-stage cancer out of nowhere, no family history, nothing. And so that actually put me on a path. I took a right turn into the world of writing and authorship. And so for 10 years, I wrote columns for most of that time for CNN Health about this notion of seeking serenity and stress. Then I got to interview some of the most amazing people around the world who are researching it, who are living it, who are doing things about it. And I came away with all of these new notions about stress, which were so counter to what we all think about stress and how we all think about stress. And they're all now living in my book called Seeking Serenity.
Yes.
Yeah.
And where can people get the book?
Anywhere. Barnes & Noble, Amazon, anywhere. Yeah.
Did you have it? I'm going to ask, did you have a good publishing experience?
I was...
You don't have to say who it was, but I'm only asking because I have a couple of friends right now that are all thinking about coming out with books, especially in this digital age of video.
Yes.
I know more people now that are coming out with books than ever before.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, okay, the books are still very alive and well. And
they really are.
Everyone's saying, well, where are you going to publish? Where are you going to publish? And I don't have any good advice. So if you have good publishing advice, I'd love it.
So mine was a very traditional, I was with one of the big publishing houses, and mine was a very traditional experience. I do know of friends who have chosen to self-publish or who have gone with some of the smaller imprints. They're imprints that you make no money, and there are different kinds of business models. I don't know. I would just suggest that you think long and hard before you spend any of your own money on anything. But I also think that we shouldn't be shackled by the way things have been done in the past, because one of the things that we're seeing in every industry is disruption and new ways of communicating with audiences that have never existed before. So don't feel like if you have a fantastic idea and a really new way to deliver it, then I would take the risk on that, because who knows, you might be the next sort of creator of new ways of writing and new ways of publishing. So
that.
I hope that was helpful, because but it happens that mine was very traditional. and I was, I liked it. I was happy with it.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
More advice to come on that one.
Yeah.
I'll let you know. And then people are like, well, you should write a book too. And I was like, I don't have time for that right now, but maybe someday I'll put it on my bucket list.
So the interesting thing about writing a book is that I sort of have these relationships with younger writers and try to kind of walk alongside them as they embark on their own path. I was having a conversation yesterday where, again, it feels overwhelming and very big. And what I was recommending is that the things that you do in your everyday, and these wonderful videos that you do, and the writing that you do every day, that's all material. And so if you look beyond, if you expand your notion of, I am sitting down writing, and begin to sort of capture all the ways that you communicate and then turn them into writing and print, then you really already have a book. And all you have to do is begin to hone and edit.
That is brilliant. Because, so for instance, to bring that to life, if I took all of the Brunch Club shows, and each person that was on the show was a chapter,
Yes.
that would be it.
It was a chapter, and it was an idea and a takeaway, and then practical ways of
application
of applying them. Absolutely. Now, I'm also not trying to diminish the hard work of writing, because there's a lot of sort of synthesizing and looking for patterns and really trying to be meaningful. That absolutely happens in the writing. But I do think that you probably already, in the social media age that we're living in, have an expansive repertoire to draw from.
That is really good advice.
Okay,
now all of a sudden, I want to move it up my list now. Now I'm kind of excited about it.
Please.
I sort of love those books that are out right now that are talking about all of the different things that women are doing, like oh God, there's one, it's a coffee table book, and it's all these, In the Company of Women. Have you seen that one?
I have not seen that one.
It's all of these women that are currently actively working and building their businesses, and it's this compilation, and
amazing.
It's really good. So I don't know. But let's see. I want to just circle all the way back to 3%. What's on the horizon besides just the mini conference that's coming? As we're kind of coming to the end of our time together, I want to just make sure that people can get excited about what else, like the future of 3% is going to do.
Oh my gosh, there's so much to be excited about. In addition to what we talked about earlier, I'm working on an initiative for pay equity in the advertising industry. I'm super excited about it. Before you check out, let me tell you that you might think that pay equity is about numbers. It really is about so much more than that. It's about human relationships and connection. And at the end of the day, who do we value? And how do we value them? It's powerful, because I was like, oh yes, initiative, numbers. It really.
When are we going to get to see that?
So Equal Pay Day is April 2nd. So it's coming up. It's a month from today. And we have a big Twitter partnership, and we're going to be launching some really fantastic research.
Is it still 73 cents on the dollar? Or is it different now?
It really depends.
Okay.
I think that it really depends on kind of what race you are.
Wow.
It's different for Asian women, white women, Native American, Latinas, and African Americans. So yeah, you hit the mark of equity at different points of the year, which is, incredibly tragic, y'all. We're doing the same work, and we should be compensated in the same way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember when I went to... where was I? I was at the 4A's, one of their conferences. It was in Florida a couple years ago.
Yes.
And it was my first experience going into the girls' lounge that Shelley started.
I love Shelley's work.
Oh, yeah.
I've never met her, but I adore her. I hear the greatest things, but go ahead.
Her and Kat, they're all these amazing women that I get to groupie, love. And she'll be on the show at some point too, which is going to be great. I think maybe I'll have to go to her.
Yeah.
Oh, is she going to be at the minicon?
I don't think so. I know that Lisa and Shelley and Kat just saw each other somewhere, but I don't remember where.
Okay. Well, for those who don't know, the Girls Lounge is this place at all different conferences, and it can be anything from South by Southwest to the 4A's conferences, or where else? They go all over the world. And it's this place where women can go and sort of hang out. And when I first walked in, there was this candy bar, and there was this little sign. And I think they still do it. And it was like for the candy, it was women had to pay 73 cents and men had to pay $1. And I was like, what world did I just walk into?
Isn't that great?
And they had people doing your hair and doing your nails, and they had food, and all the speakers were there hanging out. And I was like, do I need a ticket for this?
That's so funny.
I just kind of stumbled in, but it was really cool. So, I've tried to bring some of that spirit into any of the agencies that I've ever been at.
Right.
Of okay, well, women should have a special place.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And it also makes me think about, I'm working on an initiative that I can't really tell you who the client is, but one of the things that I hear over and over again, and particularly from women, is this notion of space. And we were talking about that, is how space really impacts your sense of well-being, and how finding ways to weave creativity and joy into everyday moments really matters, and it sort of adds up to a lot more of a happier life and a sort of more joyful ways of showing up to places. So I've been thinking about that a lot.
Well, and it's curating your environment support, your personal brand.
Right.
And your mental health and, with all of the things that we're focused on, having that sanctuary, that safe place where you can really recharge your battery is just, I don't know. It's something that I've been really embracing recently too.
I love that. And I think it looks different for everyone because when it comes to this whole element of my work, which has to do with meditation and mindfulness, people have this idea of what it's supposed to look like, very much like space. And so if they're not meeting that idea of what it's supposed to look like because they've read it or seen pictures of it somewhere, somehow they think it's imperfect. The reality is that it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It has to be authentic and true to you. And it doesn't help if you're buying the books and putting the apps on your phone. You actually have to engage in them. So really, this whole idea of self-care is don't just sort of have these visions that always make you feel like you're falling short. Actually begin to take the steps into them, and no matter how imperfect. There's no reason why you can't just keep iterating and doing better.
Okay, I love that. And like Will Smith said, just
one brick at a time.
One brick at a time. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. And one last plug for the gorgeous shoes and how happy they made me today.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for stopping by the Brunch Club. It's been our pleasure to share this time with you. We look forward to bringing you more sparkling inspiration next weekend. If you have feedback, topics, or want to nominate someone to be a guest on the show, please reach out to us at rachel@sundaybrunchagency.com. Cheers!
This video was brought to you by 800 Cameraman, Southern California's only 20-time National Emmy Award-winning production company.